Hello, hello, sweet honeybees. I honestly did not anticipate recording a podcast episode today. In fact, I didn't have anything written up. I didn't even have any ideas on what I should write and record for the next episode. But in lieu of recent events that happened today involving ICE murdering an American citizen, I felt obligated to lend my voice to the conversation, sharing my thoughts and perspectives on what is happening within our country. I have firsthand experience of a loved one being murdered under the claim of self defense, as well as my own personal experiences of abuse of power of police officers. And I personally believe that we are living in times where it is more important now than ever to be utilizing our voices to speak out against injustice and oppression within the world. I wrote a script that I am going to read for you now, and I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. I have been struggling to sleep at night for some time now. I can't seem to shut off my brain when there is just so much happening within the United States and the world that just hurts my soul. I don't watch mainstream news sources, nor do I spend all of my time consuming doom and gloom and current events. However, I am not the kind of person that can just sit back and pretend like nothing is happening or that things aren't escalating the way that they are. People say to focus on other things, but what a privileged perspective to have when there are atrocities against humanity taking place in multiple corners of the world, including right here in our own front yard in the United States. The people suffering the most under the rule of our leaders do not have such a privilege. You can't ignore things that directly affect your own life. It's the reality that they are forced to live. The people that ignore the suffering of others lack empathy and the ability to recognize that abuse of power and control starts somewhere before it spreads like wildfire anywhere it can take hold when it is left unchecked. It may not be you today, but what about tomorrow or the next day? Maybe it isn't you, but what if it's your children? Or your grandchildren? You refuse to stand up for others or even cheer on the awful things that happen to them. When the time comes, there will be no one left to stand up for you. When your eyes finally open to the truth of what you are helping to create, it'll be too late. A United States citizen was just murdered by an ICE agent in Minnesota. I am not going to sugarcoat the way I present this information the way mainstream news sources do, even if it affects my visibility in an algorithm that stifles free speech. The Department of Homeland Security is twisting the narrative to paint the victim as a violent domestic terrorist that intended to cause harm to the modern-day Gestapo agents. The propaganda is painting the murderer as a hero saving the lives of his fellow agents. My eyes and ears perceived something vastly different from the story that they are spinning. He shot a woman that was clearly trying to flee in fear after multiple men aggressively approached her vehicle, screaming for her to get the fuck out before attempting to force their way into her SUV. This hits home with me personally, as the man that brutally beat my mother to death as she fled and left her to rot in the desert also claimed self-defense. The agents delayed their concern for her condition, slowly walking back to their vehicles as concerned citizens rushed to her aid. It is unacceptable behavior by people claiming to be working to make our country a safer place. Some people criticize her, saying she shouldn't have blocked the road. She should have followed the law. They'll parrot the exact same garbage their handlers spoon feed them, without ever questioning what they are being programmed to believe. Laws have never been a reflection of morals or upright character. They are made-up rules by men in power used to manipulate and control the masses. This country becomes more Orwellian every single day. There is a quote from one of the books they banned from schools, 1984, by George Orwell. It reads, "The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command." There is a reason the powers over us have been banning books such as this one, as they invite us to question the implications of propaganda, surveillance, and authoritarianism on our lives. It is a warning about selling your personal freedom and the freedoms of others for security, which only builds a prison around us. People are advocating for abuse of power over some made-up border and some stupid papers that prove you belong to the government. They straight up ignore the blatant lies being told to fuel their fear, anger, and hatred for other human beings that are being abused. They don't recognize how they are being manipulated to believe their fellow countrymen and human beings are their enemies, while blindly following those that designed the mess we are in. We have all been pawns in their messed up games. In philosophy, there is something called the Hegelian dialectic, which can be simplified to a problem, a reaction, and a solution. This framework has been the very formula used to manipulate the trajectory of our country and the world. A problem is created or exaggerated by authority figures such as war, crime, financial crisis, a drug crisis, or health crisis. This then elicits a reaction from the population, often fear, which is amplified through the use of media coverage to stoke division amongst the people and create panic. As those running the show control the response, the population demands actions and solutions to the problem from their leaders, creating the illusion that those in charge work for the people. What happens next is a consolidation of power that is often pre-planned, removing freedoms the population may not have otherwise agreed to under normal circumstances. New laws are put into place. Surveillance is increased, and the country and world moves further into alignment with the interests of those on top. Rinse and repeat until full control is acquired. This isn't about red versus blue, white versus color, religion versus religion, or even country versus country. That is what they want you to believe, so you are willing to relinquish your freedom for their so-called protection and security. They're all in on it together. Two wings, same bird. One of the greatest steps towards their vision for our future came through the Patriot Act of 9/11. Back to quoting George Orwell's 1984, "Big Brother is watching you." Or how about this one, the slogan for the party? "War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength." We have been fighting wars that were orchestrated through organizations of secrecy, claiming that it is for peace. We call ourselves free while working our lives away and having our every move tracked. They want you ignorant because it keeps their power and control strong. There really are so many quotes I could take from that book to paint a picture of where we are at as a society. I encourage you to read it. They control our minds with algorithms formulated to keep us addicted to micro hits of dopamine. It shortens our attention span and our ability to think critically. Did you know that 21% of the American population between the ages of 16 and 74 are illiterate? That's 43 to 45 million people that struggle to understand basic written instructions or comprehend a simple story. We are talking about adults that read below a 5th grade level. Even worse, over half of the population reads below a 6th grade level, unable to comprehend complex texts like those that control their lives. Make no mistake, the dumbification of the American people is by design. The current president himself stated in September of 2025, "Smart people don't like me, and they don't like what we talk about. You can tell me I am taking it out of context all you want, but I see through the genius act he puts on. I am not among those of illiteracy or low IQ. Smart people don't like what he talks about because smart people observe, read, and write. Smart people educate themselves and can see through smoke and mirrors. You can't sell them snake oil. Smart people understand when the past is repeating itself because humanity is too ignorant to learn from it." He claims to love the poorly educated because they are loyal. Loyal because of propaganda, fear-mongering, and a lack of proper education. Just as within the novel 1984, he knows these people are capable of holding and accepting contradictory beliefs, which allows him to lie, cheat, steal, and get away with it. He can claim one thing, do another, and they will still support him as if he is their God. I don't know how this ends. But I hold on to faith in my humanity that humans are good at their core. Sometimes things have to get really bad before people wake up, like hitting rock bottom before you finally turn your life around. I hold on to hope that the awakening will take place before it is too late for us. As individuals, we might feel powerless to make any kind of difference, but that is exactly what they want us to think and feel about what is happening. There are small, simple ways to resist. Connect with a community. Find ways to increase your self-sufficiency. Stay aware of what is happening, but don't let it consume you. Don't turn a blind eye to it either. Your voice is more important now than ever. Your creativity and imagination are important now more than ever. If you want a simple way to get off grid and work towards repairing the brain rot that they gave you, read a book. The algorithm can't track you while you're immersed within physical pages. Reading will increase your comprehension, your critical thinking skills, and increase your perspective. Write in a journal. Start a journal. There is no better way to discover who you really are and to learn to think for yourself than to write about yourself. Even the main character of 1984 started a secret diary in protest to his oppression. Do what you can individually to loosen the grip they have over your life. We're going to get through this together, one way or another. I know we're all tired, but there is still hope. Don't let the hatred taint your heart. We are all humans sharing a floating rock in space. Life doesn't have to be this way if we don't want it to be. The world doesn't have to be this way if we don't want it to be. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. This has been the Electric Honeypot Project, where energy is the nectar of life. In this hive, we know that energy does not lie, but sometimes people do. And I invite you to join this collective as I advocate for truth, liberty, and justice for all human beings, not just some human beings. If this resonated with you at all, I encourage you to hit that like button. Please drop me a comment down below because I would love to hear what you have to say. If you want more content just like this one, be sure to hit the subscribe button. As always, I am so very grateful that you are here. The world is a better place with you in it, shining your light. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, night, week, month, year, and life. Remember to stay curious and question everything.